Look at that. I just realized I muted myself. What's going on, everybody? This is Stats Over Politics, episode number 7. As always, I am Shaun Holko, alongside my guys, Jaevon Toddy, Kevin Dent. Jaevon, Kevin, today we have a very, very special guest. I will list off his accolades in just a moment, but Kevin, can you introduce our guest real quick?
Oh man, yeah, this is the day one right here. The day one. We've been boys since elementary school, and I've been trying to shake him ever since, man. But you know, he's definitely a football head. Like Shaun said, he's gonna list off the stats to give him the credit to say what he's gonna say. A lot of the takes are gonna be crazy, but he's the football head, so we got to go to him for the knowledge.
And so, without further ado, this man is was a four-year starter at Sac State playing football. He finished top 5 in solo tackles as a sophomore. He finished top 4 in the Big Sky. He was an all Big Sky honorable mention as a junior, and he also finished in top 10 in total tackles. None other than Emmanuel Manny Anderson. Welcome to the show.
Big dog, man.
Thank you. Stingers up. Gotta represent. Stingers up.
Get this man on the Niners practice squad. We need a backer.
Come on now.
Boy,
Happy belated, by the way. Happy belated birthday.
Appreciate it, man.
26 years old.
Big 2-6.
26 years young.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate
That's
it.
awesome.
Y'all.
That's awesome. Stingers up. I think the most important thing that he said was stingers up. Go Sac State. And we're just glad that, hey, Manny, can I just get your just real quick thoughts, 30 seconds or less, like on the Sac State football program now versus, like, no offense, when you were there?
I think
I was there too as a student. So
you can't say no offense and then say y'all don't want to get on you, but no offense.
Yeah, no. I will say I'm happy to see a big change, a big turnaround, because I think the city really wants to root for Sacramento State. It's just a matter of, hey, if you're winning, they will show. But if you losing, yeah, don't expect a packed out crowd, man. But I'm just excited to see where they're at right now. I'm excited to see the upcoming season because Troy Taylor just recently left. But so it's going to be interesting to see how this year turns out. But just from the looks of it, seeing the different recruits that they just brought in, and just over the next couple of months or so about the new guys that's coming in, it's going to be interesting to see. So I'll probably show up there to a couple of spring practices to see how they do. But it's going to be a fun year.
It will, without a doubt. And I really wasn't trying to throw shade. The stats speak for themselves, but the stats also speak for themselves. This is Stats Over Politics. And those first couple of years I was at Sac State were pretty rough. I'm glad to see that it got a lot better. Anyways, gentlemen, we got to get to some college football to kick things off because the college football playoff is coming up over the New Year's Eve day. I was going to say weekend. It actually is on the weekend this year. Then we're going to get to some NFL. We're going to give our picks for the NFL awards. We're going to get to a lot of other topics, and then we're going to close things out with some NBA. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it with Georgia #1 versus #4, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And Jaevon, you don't look happy. Why don't you look happy as we're getting into this topic?
You guys just don't look confident. That's all I'm saying, man. Just going into it, Shaun. You can hear it in his voice, guys. I mean, just by him, we got #1 Georgia versus #4 Ohio State. It's going down Saturday. Like, you didn't sound excited. Like, man, we're going up against Georgia. You know, we about to go up in there and shock the world and do this, do that. But I think Shaun knows in the back of his head that there's a reason why they're dogs in this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State loses by 2 touchdowns or more. I'm just saying.
Okay, so we know that Jaevon is going to go with Georgia. Kevin, you're the other Ohio State fan. Before we get to Manny and his thoughts on this game, I want to get your thoughts on it because we know which way you and Jaevon are both going to go.
Yeah, man. I just had a question for you, Shaun. I know Ohio State was 4 before, but what was the outcome of that playoffs?
Oh, they won the first ever college football playoff.
Oh, damn. So it's like we've been here before or something.
Should I get the hat? Should I get the gold hat?
Nah, Toddy knows what's up.
Please get the gold hat.
You know, Toddy came on here week after week and was quote unquote confident, throwing out these huge numbers, and now it's crickets. So, you know, we're used to this, Toddy. So it's not going to be a whole bunch of hoorahs and pom poms over here. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go in here and get this W. CJ Stroud's going to show that, you know, he couldn't win the big game, and I think he's going to get part 3.
Still can't win the big game.
Hey, he's going to get another chance at him. All that matters.
Still can't win the big game. He's quote unquote supposed to be the second best quarterback in this draft, quote unquote.
I mean, Max Duggan finished higher than him, didn't he?
I mean, this is the game where he's supposed to show why he's the guy, why CJ is supposed to be, you know, he is who he is, why he's supposed to be a top, you know, highly draft pick coming out this year. And it was supposed to be Bryce 1, CJ 2, but now we're starting to see, you know, other draft boards come out. Bryce is still #1, but then you'll see a couple defensive players. You'll have CJ in there. I'm seeing Will Levis in a couple of these draft boards that's higher than CJ Stroud. Now, you guys know how I feel about Will Levis, but I mean, you know, CJ, you know, gets pummeled by Michigan twice, lose to Oregon at home. I mean, these are big games that he's played in before that I consider big, you know, down to Maryland earlier in the year. I'm just naming off just, you know, little things that you're kind of starting to see, like, is the moment too bright for the kid? But I guess we'll see on Saturday. I just don't want him to come out and throw a stinker and get blown out by 3 touchdowns. I get it, it's Georgia, but damn, you're supposed to be the #2 pick in the draft. What are we supposed to be doing here?
That Maryland game you speak of, did we win?
I mean, you guys won, but it was close.
I'm just saying, you didn't want to say that part. I'm just saying.
Won the game, but I mean,
tell the whole story.
Won 2 games this year. I mean, little Tua in them, I guess. I mean, come on, man. What are we talking about?
I mean, we all can't lose to Utah.
Hey.
That's what I was going to say, is if anyone can't tell by the tone of Toddy's voice, he's still hurt by those not 1, but 2 losses versus Utah this year.
Yeah,
meanwhile, the Ohio State Buckeyes, their only loss was against the #2 team in the nation. So, Manny, I don't know where you're going to side on this one. Are you going to go with the overdogs being the Georgia Bulldogs, or are you going to go with the Ohio State Buckeyes?
I think I'm gonna go with the overdogs in Georgia, man. I'm curious to see how they're gonna face against the run game. Because if you looked at Ohio State when they played Michigan, they kind of, you know, ran a little bit all over them. And so with Georgia being so heavy up front in that front 7, where the dogs at, you know, where all the collision and stuff happens. I'm curious to see. I'm hoping going into halftime, it's no more than a 3-score game. I'm honestly hoping it's no more than a 3-score game
because he knows.
I'm really hoping.
I'm hoping. I told y'all the takes are gonna be high.
This isn't a USC fan talking. This is a real part. Like, I'm just.
There's a reason. There's a reason why Manny's our first guest.
There's a reason why
5 guys on their defense going in the first round. That's all I'm saying. Like this
Sure.
this Georgia team is not nothing to be played with. This is a real team. Like they have guys everywhere. When I say D-line, linebackers, cornerbacks, even on the now we all know Stetson Bennett. He's not really a guy that's gonna wow you, but he's a national champion. And then they got guys at the running back position, guys at the wide receiver position, and tight end. Got 5 stars everywhere. That's all I'm saying. So 3 scores by halftime minimum from the football insider himself. I'm just saying, man.
No, it was more 3 points. 3 points. No more than a field goal. They need to keep it close. Keep it close.
I mean, we have Manny on here for a reason. Not only is he one of our most loyal listeners, but also he's very knowledgeable when it comes to football. So, Manny, I really respect your opinion. But as an Ohio State fan, it hurts my heart to hear you say it. Kevin, I want to get your reaction about the thoughts from your day one.
You know, Manny's a defensive player, so you know when football's on, that's all he look at. He don't care about the touchdowns. He care about the blitzes and the covering the flats and all that other good shit. You know, you know, I can't lie. You know, Jordan Davis was a Georgia Bulldog, so I mean the proof's in the pudding. The Kobe Dean, and they do it at the next level. Like Manny said, it's a factory over there. You know, you can arguably say they're coming up on a Bama dynasty if they can able to do it back to back. But you know, Ohio State's gonna put an end to all that shit. So Manny's just talking at this point. I think we're gonna go in there and get it done.
Smith and Jigba playing?
Okay.
No, you know that answer. Why are you gonna?
Is he
playing one game?
I don't think so.
Toddy just wants to sprinkle some salt in the wound because
he's still a top 10 pick. I mean, he ain't got to play.
Well, I respect the decision.
I mean, he ain't playing. So
okay, so let's just get some official
before we move on. Saturday.
I'm not playing on Saturday.
The Cotton Bowl is not on Saturday. Anyways, before we move on to the other game in this college football playoff semifinals, I just want to get some official picks. I mean, obviously, we already heard the initial takes, so we already know where everyone is pretty much leaning. But let's just go around real quick. So let's start with you, Jaevon, and then we'll go to Manny, Kevin, and myself. What's your pick for this game?
Dogs, baby. I got the Dogs by 2 touchdowns.
Okay, 2 touchdowns. That's the official pick. Manny, you were talking about Ohio State wants to make sure they're not going down big going into halftime. So what was the final score for your Dogs pick?
I'm going to say Bulldogs. I'm going to go 31-17.
Kick him, Shaun.
Oh. All right, so
2 touchdowns.
Javon and Manny are both favoring the Dogs by 2 touchdowns. Kevin, I will not kick Manny, but I want to get your pick.
All right, man. So I'm going to paint y'all this picture.
Please.
Stetson Bennett's going to go down, tie the game up 24-24. Wow. CJ Stroud is going to go down the field, lead us to a field goal, Ohio State 27-24, and we're going to wave them off.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go very similar. I'm gonna go Ohio State 34-30. And the only thing that is giving me hope in this game, because yes, Jaevon, I am scared going into this game. Georgia is disgusting.
But you not nervous?
My only hope going into this game is what happened in 2014 when Ohio State, the last time they were the 4 seed, because I didn't have any hope going into that game against Alabama. And then Ezekiel Elliott ran all over them. And then Ohio State advanced. They ended up beating Marcus Mariota as well. That's not the same team. That's not the same team, but it gives me hope.
Mike Thomas was on that team. Who else?
Yeah. And as you reminded us, Jackson Smith, it was Cardell. It was Cardell. Yeah.
Cardell was the coach. Man, and then I forgot.
Cardell doesn't play school; he plays football.
No, who was your quarterback before that got hurt?
It was JT, Barrett. And then before that, it was Braxton Miller.
It was Braxton, JT, and then Cardell.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that gives me hope. I'm going Buckeyes 34-30, but I wouldn't be surprised if we come back here next week and
Urban was the coach back then, so I mean, that's who the coach was.
I don't want to speak on Urban anymore after.
Man. That's after everything right there. You better put some respect on that, man.
All right. Well, you guys are all tuned into Stats Over Politics, episode number 7, as we are joined by our guy Manny Anderson stepping in for Garry. I just want to get to a couple of our YouTube comments real quick. What's up with James? Julian, I appreciate the follow on Instagram. He said, "How about them Cowboys, Kevin?" And what's up? Shout out to T. She said a bunch of dogs. And Soph also said that's right. Soph, I don't know who you were saying was right, but I was the person speaking when that comment came through. So maybe it was me. I'm probably wrong, though. All right, let's move on to the other game, and that is number 2 Michigan versus number 3 TCU. And TCU is the biggest shock of this season, without a doubt. So let's flip the order. Manny, I'm going to go to you first on this one. What's your prediction for this game?
I believe Michigan's still going to win. TCU, they're going to put up a fight. I think they're extremely happy to even be in the playoffs. But Michigan, I think they're going to beat them I'll say by a touchdown. No. Yeah, I'll say by a touchdown. Because I think they're going to be fight. They're going to fight. TCU is going to fight hard. But overall, I think it's going to end up being Michigan and Georgia for the championship.
Kevin, I know that you are an unbiased football opinionator, but can you bring yourself to pick the team up north in this game?
I don't want to, but I got to. I'm seeing a real get back. I want my get back, man. With this game, I'm seeing a real resemblance with Alabama and Cincinnati. Like Manny said, they're just happy to be here. They're just happy to have their foot in the race. I think they're going to get dragged. It drives the expansion. It's like, oh, what could these other teams do? But when you play in the best college football conference in the world, you don't get ran by TCU. So
best conference in the world.
Jaevon, how about you?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be close. I know that Michigan is just. We saw a lot. The last time we saw Mr. McCarthy play, I mean, he was airing it out left and right. He was throwing bombs everywhere. I mean, on the road, in the shoe. It was kind of his coming out party. I mean, man, and then they didn't really even and they didn't even have their best player, Blake Corum, their star running back. And, J.J. McCarthy, I think he's going to come out. He's going to come out guns blazing. I think you're going to see a lot from the run game in this Michigan game. They're just going to pound the ball on TCU because TCU's defense is atrocious. They kind of remind me of the USC defense. Can't really stop anybody, but they'll be able to score. They'll score in 3 plays. So I think Max Duggan's going to have a great game, but I just don't think this TCU defense is going to be able to withstand. And Michigan's going to roll there. I got them winning. I'm going to give them probably 17-point game.
Yeah, I'm going to even think it's even more lopsided. Congratulations to Max Duggan for making himself a draft prospect, but I think that Michigan's going to end up winning this one like 45-20. It's not going to be very close. I think it's going to be a lot more similar to what Manny was saying about the other game, where Michigan's just going to run away with it in the first half, and then TCU's going to try to chip away a little bit in the second half. It's not really going to matter in the end. Anyways, we shall see what happens. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that it's Michigan versus Ohio State, so then we can get our get back in that national championship game. Man, that would be absolutely insane if that matchup happened. Like, for better or worse, like even if Ohio State ended up losing that game, like I just still think it would be awesome to have that matchup in the national championship game.
Imagination.
Hey, it's very possible now. They're down to the Final Four, so
it's possible.
I mean, Duggan didn't even think he was going to be in it, man. He was crying at the podium after they lost in the Big 12 championship game. It was like, man, I died for these guys, man. It's my team right here, man. And then all of that, oh shit, we're in the playoff. No way.
Yeah,
he said no way.
yeah, they're gonna meet them Wolverines.
They're gonna go against
Press
Michigan.
7.
It's gonna be a Bulldog Wolverine championship game.
Okay, we shall see. All right, Manny, I know that you are a loyal listener, so you have seen this segment before. You even participated as well in the comments. This is time for Shaun's Pop Quiz. This week.
Okay.
Hey, I'm pulling out real early because I know Manny's limited on time, so I want to give Manny an opportunity. Kevin brought the good luck charm with the beautiful black lab.
About to get some points right here.
Kevin's about to get some points, and I believe I got to check my records real quick, but I believe the total is 4-2 so far that Jaevon is up. Yeah, Kevin currently has 2. Jaevon has 4. Garry got his 1. I gave Garry a sympathy 1 last night, guys, or last week.
Oh
No, you guys remember the bonus question that he got later that you guys were like, no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember.
Well, he's gone again this week, so he's missing out on some points. And if you
I
guys,
got you, Garry.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to ask. Are we gonna let Manny be eligible to get a point for Garry? Jaevon, I want to ask you
He
first.
might catch Kev at this point. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely not. You gotta show up to get points.
All right. Garry is at work, so it's not like he's off doing nothing. But that is a fair point. All right, we're just gonna have Manny answer the question anyways. All right, so first of all, I want to let's see, which question do I got up first? All right, let's start it off with Toddy, and this is Shaun's Pop Quiz NFL Awards edition, since we are gonna have a big awards segment later on, giving our predictions. So Toddy, I just want to ask you. I mean, Tom Brady, he's the greatest of all time. And he has had several Super Bowl MVPs, but how many regular season MVPs has Tom Brady won in his career?
I want to say 3.
You want to say, or is that your answer?
He wants to say it.
I'll say.
Now he's gonna change it.
I think he got.
I need a final answer.
Come on, Tyler.
Final answer. I think he got. I'm gonna go with 2. Let's say 2.
So your final answer is 2. Locking it in.
2.
You should have trusted your gut, because the answer is 3.
Yo, we didn't get a chance to steal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kevin.
It's all good.
I
was gonna guess 4.
Manny, just out of curiosity, would you have gotten that one? Did you know it was 3?
I thought it was 2, to be honest with you. I thought he I know he had 2, but I feel like if there was a third one, he probably, got snubbed and didn't get it. But okay, 3.
All right. Do we so Jaevon and Kevin, I'll leave this question. Do you guys want to have this be eligible for a bonus question if you name the years, or is that probably too
Yeah,
much?
you can name the years. You can sprinkle also.
It was 3 of them.
Yeah.
We know it was 3 of them, and you just got to think back to Tom Brady's best years. All right, so 2007.
I give you 1 year.
7, was probably the Moss year.
2017, unfortunately, stole it from Carson.
2017. Yep, that was the other one.
Only one I know.
Then there was one more. So 2007, 2017, and also 2010. So that was the other one. 2010. All right. So
Carson. That's what happened.
Reach.
All right.
I agree.
All right.
So, Kevin, you did get to see your team beat this legendary coach in the Super Bowl. This legendary coach was paired with that guy we were just talking about for a long time. So I just want to know, how many times has Bill Belichick won Coach of the Year? He's been around for a long time.
Yeah, I was about to say he's been around for a while. He's only won it twice.
He's only won it twice? Is that your final answer?
I'm locking it in. Cashing it in.
You looked ahead of the trick question of him being around for a long time, but no, Toddy, the answer is not 0. The answer is 3. The answer is 3. He's won 3. It was just like Tom Brady having 3 regular season MVPs.
Crazy.
The
We're meant for each other.
Should be the first answer you get.
So the years were 2003. 2007, same year as Brady getting MVP, and then 2010, same year as Brady getting MVP. So that's where the 3 come from. When you're the greatest, they don't even look at you for the awards.
Pretty much.
All right. So now, Manny, I want to get this question to you. Garry, this will not be eligible for you. I apologize, Garry. However, Manny, I want to see if you can get this question and put our other 2 co-hosts to shame right now. So the news, we're going to get to the news of JJ Watt coming up later. But I want to know, how many defensive MVPs has the Watt family won?
Oh, the Watt family?
That's a hell of a question.
That's crazy.
Manny, I appreciate you being our guest, but I wasn't going to give you a softball.
The question is, how many has TJ won?
He just won 1.
I mean, that's up to you to figure out.
Has had some phenomenal years.
Obviously, JJ.
But the year that I feel like he should have won, ended up going to Aaron Donald. So I'm gonna say he has 0, and TJ or JJ got 3. So I'm gonna go with 3.
Wait, don't they?
Were all the answers 3? No, all the answers were
I was
not
about to
3.
say, bro. all the
That,
answers were three.
that was the trick question of
Manny
the
came
last
on and cracked the puzzle.
last one. So Manny did get it correct that JJ Watt has 3 in
Yeah,
his
he got
career.
3. I know he does. Yeah, TJ got 1.
However,
TJ
TJ
got
got his
one?
first one last season
year.
in 2021.
Yeah, TJ got 1. Damn. 4.
So TJ got his one in 2021, and then JJ was damn near 4 years in a row, but he got 2012, 2014, 2015. And we'll get to JJ Watt announcing his retirement later on in this show. But that was Shaun's pop quiz. And I appreciate you all for playing. I'm sure that you guys are starting to hate me, and that eventually, Manny, I know that one of these weeks I'm going to show up, and then they're going to be like, hey, rather than Shaun's pop quiz, let's flip it on Shaun and give Shaun all the questions, and I'm going to fail the test terribly.
I'm going to give you all the tough ones. Who was the left tackle for the Niners in 68?
Yeah, it at least has to be after I was born. That was 90.
During the Super Bowl era.
I actually do have a question for you, Shaun. It's funny you said that.
Yeah, give it to me.
All right. So there are 4 teams that are top in sacks. Name me those teams.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the Eagles, the 49ers. That's the easy ones.
Steelers?
No. Like I kind of want to guess the Cowboys, but the Cowboys defense hasn't been that great this year.
I've been all right.
I feel like the Vikings are in there.
That's
probably wrong. No, not the Cowboys. Then I'll go with the Bengals. The Bengals.
Bengals.
I feel like I got 2, but it was the easy 2, so I got 50%.
Anyone else can steal it.
Wait,
that's an F.
I only heard 3 that
I'm gonna say Cowboys, and then what's that 4th one? What we trying to do here?
So I guessed 49ers, Eagles, Vikings, Bengals.
Bengals.
I'm gonna go Cowboys and then Vikings.
Niners, Eagles, Commanders.
Ah, the
Cowboys.
Commanders.
Cowboys.
That was
unfortunately, you guys are all wrong. It is Eagles with 61, Patriots at 50,
Patriots,
Cowboys 49, Chiefs 45. I'm surprised no one said the Patriots. I'm surprised no one said the Patriots.
Wait, you said Cowboys 3 and who was 4?
Chiefs.
Who was 4?
The Chiefs.
I knew it was one of those AFC teams. Yeah, see, I didn't do well at all. I got 25%. That's even worse. That's even worse. Ugh. Yeah. And Julian just wants everyone to know well with the little star and also skull. The Vikings apparently aren't frauds, even though they still are actually. All right, fellas. Let's keep it moving to the NFL segment so we can get through all of this with Manny real quick. And so I want to kick things off with the Pro Bowl, because even though this year there will not be tackles in the Pro Bowl, it still matters on the overall resume. And so I just want to get to not the guys who made the team, but the guys who should have made the team. So Jaevon, I'm going to kick things off with you.
Isn't it obvious?
Jaevon, I'm going to kick things off with you because I feel like we have 2 of the same answers. So I just want to get yours first.
Well, I mean, how is Christian McCaffrey not on a Pro Bowl team? Like just how? If you just look at stat for stat, it shouldn't even be argued that he's not on the. I think the running backs were Tony Pollard made it over. Tony Pollard made it over Christian McCaffrey. I think I saw who else was the other running back? And
Saquon and Sanders.
Miles Sanders. Like Miles Sanders, I thought should have made it because he's like top in rushing in the league. So I was like, that makes sense. Saquon, I get Saquon, he made it, but then they put Tony Pollard in there. And for Tony Pollard to make it on the Cowboys team, and Zeke is getting all of this money to be paid like he's supposed to be making the Pro Bowl, that's an awkward sign. But yeah, man, Christian McCaffrey I thought should have definitely made the Pro Bowl. I mean, it wasn't even close. His numbers don't lie, and I think that it's just like ever since he's joined the Niners, he's been leading on like touches, rushes, touchdowns, yards. It's been crazy. So, yeah. So my answer is Christian McCaffrey.
Manny, how about you? Who was your Pro Bowl snub?
Honestly, CMC. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey. I was going through the numbers, and looking at them. I might have honestly probably would have took off Sanders and traded him in for Christian McCaffrey. I know it sounds crazy. Yeah, hot take, right? I think I would have
Kevin's
taken
about
off
to go
Sanders.
crazy.
Like if I'm looking at numbers, like stats for stats from not just
Well,
rushing
we
and
all know he's a
receiving,
better running back than Miles Sanders, but I mean,
and
I
if
still would
we
have
look at
left him in
receiving
there.
as well, like okay, CMC is up there. Pollard was an interesting one for me, just because he shares carries with Zeke.
Yeah.
But if you look at like his yards per carry when he actually touched the ball, the amount of times he touched the ball, like he's put them numbers, and so I see why they put him in there. So I probably would have took out Sanders, to be honest with you guys.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Kevin, thoughts?
You know, man, we're just gonna let him talk, man. Everyone wants McCaffrey to be here. He's played a hot 3 games, and now he's a Pro Bowler, huh? He played half the season in Carolina. Let's not forget it.
I just think that Dre Greenlaw is probably the biggest snub
Another
to
guy.
me, right there next to Christian McCaffrey, because Dre Greenlaw plays right next to Fred Warner, who to me, I mean, I know I'm a biased 49ers fan, but to me, Fred Warner is one of the best, if not the best, like linebacker in the NFL.
No,
and
he
so
is.
the fact that and Manny's shaking his head yes, and that means a lot coming from Manny for him to agree with me. And so
What I gotta lie for? I don't got nothing to lie
and
about.
so
What I gotta lie for.
the argument for me for Dre Greenlaw is just the fact that he plays next to Fred Warner and he almost looks identical most of the time. Like there's not a big difference in
Shaun,
the production from either guy.
They're the new Pat and Bo.
And that's the thing I love the most. And then the 49ers even have Azeez Al-Shaair to come rotate in, and he's not too bad himself either. But to me, Dre Greenlaw was the biggest snub.
We have the best linebacking core in football. I'll just say that.
Wow.
We do.
Kevin, I mean, you
That's
look like you got something to say.
Yeah, man. Let's get about some real snubs. You know, everyone can scroll through Twitter and see that Christian McCaffrey didn't make it. So let me give you some of that real shit. All right. Jaevon Hargrave, defensive tackle for the Eagles. I'll keep it nice, short, and simple. 10 sacks, he ranked second in pass rush which is behind Chris Jones and Aaron Donald if he qualified. You know who made it? Jonathan Allen with 7.5 sacks. Dexter Lawrence with 6.5 sacks. So I don't know what's going on, man. But the biggest sleeper, the biggest one is Josh Sweat not making it, man. DeMarcus Lawrence made it with 6 sacks. If this is gonna be a cowboy party, just say that.
I mean, it is America voting for.
Didn't y'all get the most players in the Pro Bowl though?
Man, we also had the most alternates. They should have just gave it all 22. They just didn't want to do that.
They got a bunch of old linemen in there anyway. We talking straight up skill positions. I mean,
whoa! I know you're not saying O line's not a skill.
I mean, hey man, skill.
Hey, them big boys can move now.
Hey man, you got Trent on your team. You see him pulling.
Yeah.
Okay, so the real question here that I want to get to now, because going into the 2021 NFL draft when the 49ers picked 3 overall, Jaevon Toddy was very much on the Zach Wilson hype train. So, Jaevon, I just want to know, simple question, is Zach Wilson a bust already?
This is like, I don't know why no one's really even talking about this like that. This is like one of the biggest busts like ever. Like if you look at it, Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus, like it's that bad to where like when you're picked second overall and you're getting benched for guys that were inactive weeks before that weren't even on the team. You're getting benched for those type of guys. And now you're hearing reports from Jay Glazer saying that, yep, we're going to wash our hands with Zach Wilson. We screwed up. This is not even the second time this is the second time they've done this. Sam Darnold, a few years back, he was a high pick in the draft, and they whiffed on him. And when you just keep seeing that the Jets are wasting these high picks on these quarterbacks and missing, it's very alarming because you look at the entire team, like they got guys everywhere, like Breece Hall, who tore his ACL this year. both corners and Sauce Gardner, and I forget the other corner that they have, CJ Mosley, they just have, like, their defense is stacked. And also they have who Kevin and Shaun obviously know, who probably
it took you this long to mention his name?
I'm saving the best for last. Garrett Wilson, a guy who's just been catching everything. You just got to get on the ball in some type of fashion. But, man, I just think this team has great coach, great defense, great skill players, but they just can't get the quarterback position right. And when you got them just saying, "Oh yeah, I don't think it was really my fault that we're not scoring points or we're losing," and the defense is giving up less than 17 points a game, and you have the audacity to say some shit like that, and then all of a sudden, "Oh, I'm buying my old lineman scooters for Christmas." Like, you're out of here, guy. So Zach Wilson is definitely a bust.
Manny, for you, is Zach Wilson a bust?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say it, but it's like we're in an era now where quarterbacks, if you're drafted high, you're expected to play phenomenally well. And going into a team that is ready to start winning now and ready to make a playoffs, like their defense is a I would consider a playoff type defense. And so
yes.
They're at a point now where it's like, hey, we need to win now. We need to get into the playoffs. And this guy, Zach Wilson, if he's not ready to play right now, then yeah, they consider him a bust. I would say maybe in a couple of years from now, or if he was on a different team in a different market and not in New York, where they, their fans, they ride hard for their team. And to see where they're at, they're ready to win now. Zach Wilson, I wouldn't necessarily say he's a bust yet. I would give him maybe another year or two. I don't necessarily know if that year or two should be with the Jets because they're ready to win now. But if he gets traded to another team, yeah, he might do better somewhere else. But right now with the Jets, that is just not a good look for him.
That's kind of the cheat code with the NFL now. You have to get your quarterback cheap. When you draft a quarterback, you don't have to pay them for 4 years. Justin Herbert literally got called off the bench when Tyrod Taylor was stabbed with a needle and had to be rushed to the hospital. Oh, shit, we're playing against the Chiefs? I'm going to go out and throw 300 real quick. People can figure out that when your quarterback is good, like off the bat. So that's why we're seeing guys in year one, all right, year two, if you're not really up to speed, you got to go because this is kind of like a time schedule. So I think with this Jets team, their team is so good now, and you're not paying Zach Wilson anything, and he's not giving you any type of production. You're seeing guys wearing Mike White shirts. People are wondering when's Mike White coming back. He's out with cracked ribs. He was out with cracked ribs, like can't play, and they're trying to figure out, is Mike White active for this week? So I think it's insane. But it sucks now because usually we see guys like Peyton Manning back in the day, it took him like 3-4 years before they even figured out, is he the guy? Like now it's kind of just like, all right, by year two, if you're not playing meaningful games or being able to contribute to this team in any type of way, you got to go.
Yeah, and Manny, I'm glad that you finished your response the way that you did, because that was going to be my follow-up, is whether or not he could have an opportunity with another team and still have success, or if the Jets were just the problem. And so, Kevin, I'm going to rephrase the question to you, because you are a noted Jaguars fan, very much so, on episode 0, which will be released one day very soon. And Manny, in episode 0, we gave our predictions, our preseason predictions for this year's NFL season, and Kevin was a big supporter of the Jags. Why? Because of Dougie P. The thing about the Jags this year is that last year they were one of the worst teams in the NFL, and it was because of Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer couldn't extract the talent that was there with Trevor Lawrence that we all saw for years. People were saying he's a generational quarterback compared to like Peyton Manning, but it was awful with Urban Meyer. Now we see the difference with Dougie P. So, Kevin, how I'm going to rephrase this question to you is Robert Saleh the problem? And I don't want to ask this question to Jaevon because we both still love Saleh very much for what he did for the Niners, but like, is Saleh the problem, and maybe like Zach Wilson could still work with the Jets just with a different coach?
No, I don't think Robert Saleh is the problem. I think the biggest problem is the Jets defense. They're bringing so much notoriety to this team, and now they're in a win now
It's
situation.
the defense fault.
The Jets have always been bad. Mike White goes in games and still doesn't win. So it's not like Mike White has this unpolished record. I definitely wouldn't say it's the coach for sure. It's definitely not Saleh's fault. If anything, he's the cause for the defense because that's his team. That's his thing. So if anyone's definitely blamed, it's not him.
Okay, so the original
Top
question back
defense
to
in the
you.
league, it's their fault. Okay.
All right, man. Expectations.
So
Last year.
Kevin, is Zach Wilson a bust?
He got to be. Yeah. It's hard to say, but what Toddy mentioned, dudes like Zach leave and Jamarcus Russell, that's not the conversation you want to be in. Zach Wilson is going to be a quarterback who doesn't finish out his rookie contract with his team. He's going to be – they already said it, they're parting ways next year, so it's going to be a long way. But you got to look at stories like Geno Smith. He came in and didn't hit in the Jets. A lot of quarterbacks don't hit their first place. We've seen, like Toddy mentioned,
playing for like 10 years before he got a shot.
Yeah, it came to, someone getting stabbed in the side. But, a lot of rookie quarterbacks don't start. And like Manny said, playing in the New York market, you're expected to win even when you're the Jets. Everyone says the Knicks are going to make the playoffs, and everyone knows the Knicks aren't going to make the playoffs just because they're in New York. So it's a big market. I think he just needs a change of scenery, and I think he'll be fine. But his career in New York will be labeled as a bust.
That's fair. And so now we go from the 2nd overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft to the 6th overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft. And it was that guy who got his first opportunity after another man was stabbed in the lung. Justin Herbert. This past Monday, he clinched his first playoff appearance, and I'm very happy for him. I was mainly happy because Austin Eckler's last touchdown won me a fantasy championship, so I appreciate it because it was Eckler versus Allen, and so it was tough for me. Anyways, Manny, I want to get your thoughts on not only Justin Herbert clinching his first playoff appearance, but also the Chargers going back to the playoffs, especially after how last year ended versus the Raiders where they were so close.
I think Justin Herbert is a phenomenal talent. He's a big dude who can throw that rock. Okay. He can launch that thing. Honestly, I think they might need a different head coach to be able to make the offense more explosive. They don't have a consistent, I would say, run game, which could be an issue, but not too much of an issue if you got a coach who can scheme up some things schematically. If you look at let's say, for instance, the Chiefs, you wouldn't necessarily say they're a running team, but they can run the ball somewhat decently. And so when I look at the Chargers, I want to say they got their defensive front together. Just from an offensive standpoint, they just need a better play caller. And so I think it might need to be, whether it's the offensive coordinator or the head coach, somebody on that part of the side of the ball got to change. But because Justin Herbert, he's a phenomenal talent. He's a phenomenal talent. Get him some help.
Kevin, for me, the Chargers are a nice story. I'm happy they're going back to the playoffs, but I don't look at the Chargers as a real threat in the AFC because I just as much as I think the NFC is top heavy with 3 teams, I think the AFC is the same case. And I don't think the Chargers have a chance to knock off any of those top 3 teams in the AFC, being the Bills, the Chiefs, or the Bengals. And that's just my opinion. What's yours on this Chargers team going into the playoffs?
I don't see them contending right away for the second year in a row. Well, last year they tried to skate in and they couldn't make it. This year they're skating by, clinching in week 15, 16. So they're just getting in by the grades of their teeth. Like you mentioned, they're not going to be able to compete with the teams like the Bengals and the Bills and the Chiefs, the top dogs in the AFC. But like Toddy mentioned earlier, this is the scheme to the NFL. You have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, not a rookie quarterback, but about on a rookie deal. You got to continue to build around him. You have Eckler, like Shaun mentioned. You have Mike Williams, who's coming into his own, and we already know what Keenan Allen does. This defense is really hurt, but they have a lot of brightness in their future. They still got him on a rookie deal. They've invested into this O-line in the past 2 drafts. They've been drafting O-linemen. Rashawn Slater was a Pro Bowler in his very first season. So the investment into his O-line, into his weapons, into his defense shows that they're investing it all to him. So I think maybe in a couple years, maybe even next year, but this year I don't think they'll be able to continue with the injuries.
So, Jaevon, I don't know if you saw Derwin James hit on Monday Night Football that got him ejected. That was absolutely vicious. It reminded me of my childhood watching the NFL. But anyways, I just want to get your thoughts on, do you think the Chargers are a real threat going into the playoffs?
I'm going to say yes. Whenever you have one of the top quarterbacks in the league at quarterback in Justin Herbert, he's always one of the guys that you mentioned. You always go Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrow. Oh yeah, there's a guy named Justin Herbert who's pretty good out of Oregon. And I think, with them, I think they'll end up being 6 or 7 seed going into it. And when you get matched up against the, maybe the Bills or the Chiefs, I don't think anybody wants to play the Chargers just based off of who's going to be playing at quarterback, and that's Justin Herbert. I do agree with Manny. The only thing that they're kind of missing is head coach, play caller, and I think that guy is probably going to be Sean Payton going into it. You already hear that he's rounding up a staff. Vic Fangio, who is a great defensive mind, and Sean Payton, who's a brilliant offensive mind. I think always kind of had it. Even after Drew Brees left, he was trying to kind of carry that team, and still, when you have Ian Book as your quarterback, I mean, Jameis Winston throwing picks every day. It's hard, man.
Why do you got to hate on the man from El Dorado Hills? You didn't have to mention him.
It's hard, man.
It was rough.
When you have Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, I mean, you got this offense they got guys. So all I'm saying is going into the playoffs, with Justin Herbert, everyone's going to be tuned in. If you got Patrick Mahomes versus Justin Herbert in the playoffs, everybody's going to be watching. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, people are going to want to see that. So I think this Chargers team has a fighting chance, and I think that they can do anything. And they got one of their better players, and Joey Bosa is supposed to be coming back from injury too. So, I mean, they're getting healthy just in time for the playoffs.
Where is Joey Bosa from, Jaevon?
Ohio State.
Wow,
From the Ohio State University. Yeah, you know for sure. Anyways, let's get to the biggest news from the NFL from this past week, and it came from Christmas Day when the Broncos got absolutely smashed by the Rams, who aren't even that good, and that led to Nathaniel Hackett losing his job before he even completed the first season. And now Nathaniel Hackett has become the 5th coach since 1970. I had to say this stat because it was the craziest one I saw after all of this. The 5th coach since 1970 cannot even make it through his first season. One of the guys we were talking about earlier, that was Urban Meyer last year. Then it takes it back to 2007 where Bobby Petrino couldn't make it through with the Falcons. 1978, Pete McCauley couldn't make it through with the Niners, apparently. And then in 1976, Lou Holtz, college legend, could not make it with the New York Jets. So, Kevin, I want to get your thoughts on this one first. The Broncos, they were supposed to ride into the playoffs at least. Jaevon thought they would go to the Super Bowl, but we're not going to talk about that. That will be released when episode 0 comes out. But anyways, the Broncos, a lot of people thought that they would do well. We all thought, I mean, we can all pretty much say that we all thought they would at least go to the playoffs. Not so much now. So was Nathaniel Hackett the problem, Kevin?
I don't think so. I, for one, didn't believe that they were a quarterback away, like the Rams and the Bucks, to just kind of answer that guy and things just go like a well-oiled machine. I feel like this is giving me real 2019 vibes with Carson Wentz and Dougie P. Someone has to be the scapegoat. And in both situations, they just paid their quarterback. This situation, you're not going to let go of the $296 million man. So this ownership didn't get Nathaniel Hackett, so they had no problem writing him that $30 million check and say, see you later. They have to figure out a lot of things. They have one of the top defenses. They just have to get the quarterback going, and I feel like everyone has a countdown clock. This new coach is gonna have to come in and tell Russ, no more let's ride shit. Let's just win games.
Yeah, that was a great marketing plan. I went out to Colorado back in September, and Let's Ride merch was everywhere. And so, hey, at least they got a lot of money before the season really started. Anyways, Manny, so according to Josina Anderson, some of the top candidates that are being mentioned for this Broncos job are Dan Quinn, Darrell Bevel, Eric Bieniemy, Sean Payton, D'Amico Ryans, Shane Steichen. For you, do any of those names stick out to you as like the answer for the Broncos, or is there not an answer for this Broncos team?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if there would be an answer right now. Because after what you've seen on Christmas Day, man, you realize like the guys just gave up. From a defensive standpoint, they just gave up. Like, 50 points to Baker Mayfield, who's just recently got on the Rams. Like, come on, man, what's going on here? So obviously they got rid of the head coach because no one wanted to play for him at that point in time. It's time to make. He got to go. And at this point, looking at Russ, someone has to go in there and talk with Russ and have a real heart-to-heart conversation to let him know, like, hey, we ain't about to – come on now. We got to step shit up. You just got to step your shit up. Because clearly he wasn't listening to Pete Carroll up in Seattle. You hear a lot of different things afterwards when he ended up leaving from a lot of different players, how Russ was kind of like doing his own thing. You had to talk to an assistant just to get in contact with him as a player. It's like, bro, what are we talking about? Come on now. Your locker's next to mine. I'm trying to talk to you. I don't need your assistant. So from hearing that from some of the different Seattle players who played with him, you can see that he can honestly end up being the problem and the issue. It's just a matter of having a coach come in there, really talk with him. And I don't know if honestly, I don't know if coaches want that headache. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if coaches will want that headache.
Yeah, that would make this job like not even presentable to a lot of great candidates out there. Jaevon, you may or may not have said that the Broncos would go very far in the playoffs. We're just gonna leave that up in the air. We don't know until it's proven. We don't know what the facts are. So, anyways, I just want to get your opinion on this Broncos team in general. Like, what went wrong?
Well, I think it's a mixture of both. We're kind of seeing that. We kind of saw flashes of it just from game one. Nate Hackett against Seattle, big game. Russell coming back to Seattle, not being able to call a timeout and then having to bring another guy in to kind of manage time clock situations. I thought that was a little weird.
That guy's the interim now.
Yeah. So, and Russell kind of just falling off of a cliff, just not being able to produce. I don't know if he's suffered an injury. Or I wouldn't be surprised if we hear like, oh, Russell had been playing with like a fractured hip the entire year, and then that's the reason why he fell off of a cliff. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we heard something like that. But I kind of thought that Nate Hackett was a little bit over his head, kind of going into this year. I saw something on Twitter where it said the interviewers, the team, the coaches that interviewed for the Broncos position, you had Kevin O'Connell, Kellen Moore, Dan Quinn, Aaron Glenn with the Lions, who's having a good year, Luke Getsky, Packers QB coach, Gerard Mayo, Jonathan Gannon, Brian Callahan, the OC for the Bengals, and then Eric Bieniemy. So there were guys that you kind of could have picked from the litter that were probably a little bit more qualified than Nathaniel Hackett. I think the only reason why Nathaniel Hackett ended up getting this job is because his connection with Aaron Rodgers. So, and then Aaron Rodgers was kind of, we were hearing, it was like Aaron to Denver, and then all of a sudden the news broke that Russell Wilson was going to Denver. So that kind of like sent shockwaves throughout the entire league. And then for Russell Wilson to kind of come out and just have a stinker year, his worst year ever, it kind of, sent the league kind of by storm, saying like, because we all kind of were thinking Russell Wilson was a top 10 QB. We don't even know if he's a top 20 QB this year. Just and then it's the combination of Nathaniel Hackett not really knowing how to, run a team. And I think it was a mixture of both. But obviously Kevin kind of pointed to it. You just gave the guy almost $300 million. You are not going to get rid of Russell Wilson. So the easiest thing to do here was get rid of the coach. And I don't know, man. It's hard now because this Broncos team doesn't have draft capital. They have a really great defense. They have, I think their offense is somewhat formidable. I love Javonte. I think it was Javonte Williams from North Carolina. He tore his ACL earlier in the year. I like Cortland Sutton. I like Jerry Jeudy. These are guys that can play football, but I'm not so sure where Russell Wilson is. Is he a top 15 QB right now in today's age? Is he a top 20 QB?
Wow.
We need to figure out who's going to be the next coach. Are they going to go defense, or are they going to go offense? I think you should try to go offense, but there's some really there are some really good defensive coaches out there. D'Amico Ryans, that can coach, that I believe can be a head coach in this league. So, yeah, this is just, I think Nate Hackett had to go.
Yeah, I think so too. And the biggest stat for me is that Russell Wilson threw his 12th touchdown on Christmas, and now he has as many touchdowns this season as he does bathrooms in his $25 million Colorado mansion. So congratulations to Russell Wilson, and shout out to Front Office Sports for that important stat. So real quickly, we want to get to something that I mentioned earlier. J.J. Watt announced his retirement, as he's going to retire after this season. To me, I don't know if you guys watch Hard Knocks in the end season with the Cardinals, but to me, it looked like J.J. Watt was just getting beaten down by this season that the Cardinals are having. And now, unfortunately, like Jaevon did say to me earlier, he is old, but now he is retiring from the NFL. So, Jaevon, I want to throw it to you first. What are your thoughts on the career of J.J. Watt in general? I know earlier we were mentioning how he's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, like you mentioned, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, I just remember all his work he was doing in Houston. I mean, we weren't really talking about Houston like that, but then we would always remember J.J. Watt. They're calling him J.J. Swat when he was just swatting down batting all the balls down. So I think that J.J. Watt is probably one of the better defensive players that I've ever seen play, just based off of his pure dominance of just being able to, stop the run, being able to force turnovers as a D tackle. You saw so many times when he was in the end zone doing weird celebrations, doing the nay and stuff like that. So, I mean, J.J. Watt is definitely one of the better players at the defensive line position. D tackle is great. It's very hard to get sacks as a D tackle because you're on the inside. I think Manny can attest to that, on how hard that is to be able to cause havoc from being an inside defender. And I think that he's going to go down as one of the best defensive players ever.
Manny, what are your thoughts on J.J. Watt as a defensive player yourself?
Yeah, no, he's I can see him definitely being in the Hall of Fame.
First ballot
defensive player of the year. From 2012 to 2015, he won that's when he won it. 3 of those years, 3 out of the 4 years, he ended up winning it. Like, the guy was a monster. Like, if you go back and look at him, he was getting what Aaron Donald was getting. You got to get double teamed, triple teamed because he's a monster of a human being, just getting there causing havoc. And so, first ballot Hall of Famer, phenomenal year. Like you said, once the injuries and stuff piled up on him, especially being a defensive lineman, you're getting banged up, you're getting hit almost every play. Literally, you're going to get in contact with somebody. And so, over time, injuries, they take a toll on you. And so he's like, all right, I'm going to just step away from the game now, which is, it's respectable, especially because, the Cardinals, they aren't doing really too well. So might as well just go out now.
To put it nicely.
just go out now, man. And so,
How old is
Hall
he?
of Famer.
I think he's 33. Right?
33 years old. And so,
man,
could he play? Yeah, he probably could, but why?
He might retire and just take a year off and just say, hey, man, let me just see who's
And
out
say, fuck the Cardinals. Yeah.
Wait for his contract to end.
there. Who's out there that
Rob
I can still help? Yeah.
Exactly. So, Kevin, what are your thoughts on the great career of J.J. Watt?
Oh man, Toddy and Manny went on and on about it. There's nothing else I can say. I really the Texans' impact that he had on that team wasn't just on the defensive end. I know everyone's seen the clip of them throwing him a fade route on the goal line.
Yep.
J.J. Watt is just a different breed. I saw a good story earlier today that he actually attended Central Michigan his freshman year, and he left he walked on to Wisconsin, and they told him, we might not have a scholarship for you. Before the end of his redshirt year, he had a scholarship. So, he knew he was that guy before everyone else did. And it just goes to show that all that hard work paid off, and whatever his parents were feeding them Wild Boys, man.
Man, that's a fact. And my favorite part of all of this is I saw Old Takes Exposed posted the old comments from all the Texans fans who were so upset when they drafted him, and then he ended up being one of the best players in franchise history. And not only
It
that,
might
but
be.
like we were all. It might be yeah. I didn't want to say it outright, but it's very
D-Hop, Andre Johnson, him.
Andre Johnson was the other one I was thinking of, where it's like that's tough. But D-Hop's right in that discussion. All three of them are top three for sure. But anyways, guys, we want to get through our NFL awards prediction segment real quick, so then we can get Manny in here, as we want to be respectful of his time. But we also just want to get things on record here, and we want to just get everything on record. I'm gonna write it down, because then when the actual awards do come out the night before the Super Bowl. I think it's the night before the Super Bowl, something like that. When the awards do come out, then we will circle back and we will see where we were right and wrong. So, gentlemen, let's just start off with the most important award, and that is MVP, the most valuable player. Manny, you're our MVP for today for joining us. We appreciate you, and so I want to get your pick for this year's NFL MVP.
So, should I say who they probably might end up giving it to, or who it should go to?
We want to know who you think. I mean, you can give us the caveat at the end, but we want to know who you think.
Who they probably might give it to, I don't know, because he was hurt one game, is Hurts. They'll probably end up giving it to Hurts, just because of what he did last year to this year, 360, phenomenal. Who they probably should give it to, that Mahomes boy. Homeboy is dangerous.
Yeah.
The numbers he's putting up, total touchdowns including rushing and passing, is 41 compared to Hurts 35. Total yardage from passing and rushing, Hurts 4,200 compared to Mahomes 5,000. And then to see, obviously, like, remove Hurts from the Eagles, I think there will be an okay team still. Remove Mahomes from the Chiefs, I don't necessarily know how well they'll do, especially getting rid of Tyreek Hill, who was their most explosive player. People all thought, they're not going to be not as good of a team. But if you look at their record and look what Mahomes boy is doing, like, bro, he's playing phenomenal. He's like LeBron when it comes to football, because if you look at LeBron in basketball, he's phenomenal. You'd be like, he probably should win MVP almost every other year, Same thing with Mahomes. You look at Mahomes, the numbers he's putting up, he should probably win MVP almost every other year. And right now, yeah, Mahomes boy, that man's dangerous.
Jaevon, dangerous. How about you? Are you going with the Mahomes boy?
So me and Manny's answers were flipped. So I think that they should. I think that the NFL is probably going to give it to Patrick Mahomes based off everything Manny just said, accounting for 41 touchdowns, throwing for 5,000 yards every year. He should be the MVP. But I think the MVP should go to Jalen Hurts, best player on the best team.
The what? You said best player on the what?
Kevin caught him.
Best player on the best team record-wise.
Oh,
13 and they're 13.
You said it the first time.
Hey, Toddy, just know that Kevin's going to clip this and put this on social media.
He's going to clip it anyway. I think just because of his injury, I think the NFL is going to look at it and say, oh, he didn't play the full season, this, that, and the third. We're going to give it to Patrick Mahomes. I think Jalen Hurts I've kind of already said this in previous podcasts. First year taking over for Carson Wentz, he's kind of eased into it. Jalen's running around everywhere. He's going to figure it out. He's going to throw the ball later, but I'm going to rush for 200 yards, get you 2 touchdowns. I'll figure out passing later. The next year, they go 9-8. He makes the playoffs. He's still trying to figure out how the hell am I going to manage this offense, run pass option. We'll figure it out. Now he's developing into one of the better passers in the league, period. Just being Jalen's definitely a top 10 quarterback right now. Top 10 right now, Jalen Hurts. If you would have told me Jalen Hurts is going to be a top 10 quarterback this year, I probably would have laughed at you. So he's definitely played himself into a high-paying contract. He's played himself into being one of the best players in the league. So I think it should go to Jalen Hurts just based off of the year that he's had in general. And, you know, obviously we've already seen since he's been out one game, they lost. So I think the MVP award should definitely go to Jalen Hurts this year.
Kevin, it's obvious we know who you're picking, but tell us why.
So if you would have asked me on Saturday, I would have said Jalen Hurts. But like Toddy said, we saw what they went out there and did Saturday. For Gardner Minshew to go out there and throw for 350 something and not punt the ball one time.
Two picks. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's true.
But he didn't punt the ball, and our offense was very efficient.
Because
It just goes to
didn't have to punt. Threw a pick. Threw an interception. That's why.
Let him talk.
This isn't an
Let him
Eagles
talk.
Cowboys topic. This isn't an Eagles Cowboys topic, but you know, like you guys says, it's Mr. Consistent. He's got to win another MVP. If Jalen doesn't get hurt, I believe it's a different story. And Jalen's not going to come back to the very last week of the season, so Minshew's going to have an opportunity to go out there and put up huge numbers. So it's got to really have an effect on Jalen Hurts as MVP. But you know, we want the trophy at the end.
Okay, so Manny thought that that Jalen Hurts would win it, but he wants Mahomes. Toddy had it flipped, and also Kevin. So you obviously want Jalen Hurts to win it, but you think Mahomes is actually gonna get it just because Hurts was out?
Yeah.
Okay. But for official, what I'm writing down, you're saying Jalen Hurts is the MVP, right? No. Okay, Kevin's gonna give me the prediction, the official prediction of what happens. He's going with Mahomes.
It's got to be on me.
I'm also going with Mahomes as well. Manny basically said everything for me, and even down to the T of the LeBron comparison, where I said that a couple of weeks, where it's just like when you have continued greatness, they're going to continue to try and expect you to one-up yourself when what you're already doing is already on level 10. Everyone else is trying to get to level 10. They want you to go to 11 just to consider that an MVP season for the true greats like Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James. And I also think that Mahomes is having a phenomenal season, but for Mahomes standards, it's just another great year, especially because I think going into this year, like everyone expected the Chiefs to fall off because Tyreek Hill went to Miami. They didn't fall off at all. And that's because of Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, at least. All right, guys. So let's try to get through these a little bit quicker. If we agree, then we'll keep it moving on each one. Let's get to Offensive Player of the Year. Manny, I want to get your pick first and why.
I got Justin Jefferson. Yeah, that the man gets open. That's really all there is to say about that. He's putting up some phenomenal numbers. Just get him the ball. You know, I wish they would do that more with, I'm going to be a little biased here with Devontae Adams. Just give him the ball a little bit more. But right now, Justin Jefferson is going to win Offensive Player of the Year. Do I think he's the best receiver? I don't necessarily believe in that part. I would give that to Adams still. But because of this year, Justin Jefferson is probably going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
I also agree. I think Justin Jefferson is going to win for my pick. Kevin, how about you? Who's your pick for Offensive Player of the Year?
It's got to be Justin Jefferson, man. I know I got a lot of Vikings haters who are going to get on me for saying it, but it got to be Justin Jefferson. If you can say you ended the season breaking Randy Moss's records, that's a hell of a season.
Yeah, and he's like 230 something yards away for 2 games. Like for him, that's nothing. Yeah. He can do that in 1 game. Jaevon, are you going to make it unanimous?
Yeah, Jettas I think he's just a clear unanimous. You said by 200 yards. People are arguing that he's getting an extra game, but he is already ahead of Randy Moss's record, and they still have 2 more games to go. So, I mean, it's just he's I think he's the best receiver in the league right now. I don't think there's no question about it.
All right. Kevin's eyes just got big, but we'll save that for another day. Kevin even just said, wow, I could see that as well. We will save that for another day.
He's a better route runner. He's a better possession receiver.
We're moving on, Toddy.
Come on, man.
Defensive Player of the Year, gentlemen. Defensive Player of the Year. I mean,
we don't even got to talk about this one. We might as well just.
Jaevon and I are both going with Nick Bosa. We think that it's obvious why we're going with Nick Bosa. Do either of you disagree on the Nick Bosa pick?
I don't disagree. Nick Bosa, he's a monster. He's gonna.
We owe that boy some money.
Yeah, we owe him a lot of money. Kevin, do you disagree or is it unanimous?
Unfortunately, I have to agree. It's obvious. You see him, and you saw the impact of him getting hurt and coming back this year, and just it's a whole different defense. So you definitely got to give his flowers.
Okay, so this next one, I think that there are a handful of names that we could choose from, so I don't think it's going to be unanimous on this one. This one is Coach of the Year.
Oh.
So I'm going to start things off, and even though, and Kevin, don't get mad at me, even though in our group chat the other day, I did say if Nick Sirianni wasn't there, then Kyle Shanahan would have a chance. But Jaevon got me thinking, and Kyle Shanahan really has done more with less. The fact that he has a third-string quarterback out there who is 3-0, leading them to the playoffs and to a division title, and the fact that he was the last pick in the draft, this past year's draft, he's a rookie, last pick in the draft, third stringer, didn't think that he would even see the field this year. And the fact that the 49ers are, and I get it. A lot has to do with the defense and that guy that we were just talking about, Nick Bosa. But to me, Kyle Shanahan, he gets a lot of flack for past years, the Niners not being that successful. He's only led them on one playoff run the entire time he's been there so far. I think that's correct. No, 2 playoff runs, obviously last year. And then, anyways, I just think that this year it's Kyle Shanahan because he has done more with less, but Nick Sirianni to me is a close second. Kevin, I want to get to you next. Are you going to go with Sirianni?
It's the easiest choice. If he's giving us the answers to the quiz, I gotta choose the right answer. It's got to be Nick Sirianni. Toddy mentioned it last year with the team we had. We struggled early. We figured out the run game was unstoppable. We made it to the playoffs in his first year as a coach to build on that and just be consistent and to come in here and possibly clinch the number 1 seed. It's got to be Nick Sirianni.
Okay, Jaevon, how about you?
Hey, man.
Going
into the year, being, coming off NFC Championship year, everybody's saying this and that. The Rams are going to win the division. All this. Trey Lance's first year. Oh, no. Trey Lance just shattered his ankle. Damn. Out for the year. We got to run with Jimmy G. Jimmy G fractures his ankle. Oh, my God. Season's in the shitter. There's no
Still
way
is.
that there's no way.
Okay, Kevin.
There's no way in hell that this Niner team's going to be able to just get out there. Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. Me? You want me to go in there?
You.
The last pick in the draft? Me? Oh, I'm just going to go 4-0 and every time I play in the game and just I have the best defense I got the best defense in the league backing me up. I got Pro Bowlers everywhere on my offense. All I got to do is just give the guy the ball. How is it not Kyle Shanahan when you have 2 catastrophic injuries to your quarterback who you drafted 3rd overall, the guy who just took you to the NFC Championship game, both go down, and you're asking Brock Purdy to get out there and start swinging the rock? And the Niners are 9-4 or 11-4, and they won the NFC. You already won the NFC West. And there's no way.
Worst division in football. Congratulations.
Kyle not being talked about.
Whoa. Not the worst.
Hold on.
Not the worst.
The
Okay?
AFC South on line 1.
Our quarterback's been out.
Okay, you guys are on line 2.
Our quarterback's been out
Maybe
for
line
how
3.
long? How many weeks? Jalen Hurts goes down and all hell breaks loose. The sky is falling. The
We lost
Eagles
by 6
lose.
points.
The Eagles lose.
We had a loss from Jalen Hurts.
Why? Why did you lose? You didn't have your quarterback, right? Kyle
That's
Shanahan
not
doesn't
true.
have his quarterback.
We gave him
So
a third.
sad.
We gave him a
Kyle
third and 30.
Shanahan didn't have his quarterback for how many weeks? It's been like a month. We went undefeated in December with Brock Purdy as a quarterback. That's all I got to say.
No, you guys beat the
All right.
Seahawks,
Kyle
the
Shanahan's coach of the
Dolphins,
year.
and the Commanders,
Hey,
and the
man.
Bucks. Congratulations.
With a
Hey, man.
Mr. Irrelevant is our quarterback.
You could have been the quarterback, Toddy.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Anybody can be the quarterback, and we'll just be the number 1 team in the league. Come
And
on,
why
what
is
are we
that?
talking about?
Because of Nick Bosa and Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle
Manny,
Shanahan.
I want to get your pick. Are you siding with Kevin on this one?
I was going to if you would have asked me a couple weeks back. I was going to if you would have asked me a couple weeks back.
He heard my story.
Me too.
Because of what they're doing. The Eagles, they're playing phenomenal football. They got Probably one of the easier schedules too. But hey, that's neither here nor there. We're not here to
There's
talk
some
about
chinks
that,
in
okay?
that
We're not
armor
here
now.
to talk. We're not here to talk about that. So let's move on. I digress. But recently, with Purdy coming in there, and Kyle dialing up the plays to make it easier for him, because at first, Trey Lance, he got hurt, and then, Jimmy G stepped up and got in there. But that's not really much of a huge change because Jimmy G's been there before, okay? So that's not really huge. But to see Brock Purdy get in there, and now he's what, 4-0 now as a starter?
3-0 as a starter, 4-0 in the
yeah.
games he's played.
Yeah, exactly. So that shows something. That shows something. And what that shows is coaching. Coaching is important. You take Brock Purdy, put him in, let's say, on any other team, I don't know if you'll get the same results. And so, I'm gonna have to go with Kyle right now.
Shaun, is the award called Coach of the Year or Coach of the last 4 games?
It's Coach of the Year. Granted,
he
still is on his third quarterback now.
Everyone's strong argument was Purdy.
He's on his third quarterback now.
Hey, Toddy, how many wins
y'all
in a row
lost
is
your
it?
quarterback, y'all lose. That's all I gotta say, man. We lose our quarterback, we win the division.
You guys played the Seabirds.
Come on, man.
Hey, the Seabirds were just in playoff contention, so
we
the
beat the team
commies.
that beat y'all. Come on, man. Y'all.
We beat them too, Toddy.
We just beat the team that beat y'all. The ended y'all's undefeated streak with our third stringer. That's all I gotta say, man.
All right, guys.
Y'all lose.
We got to keep it pushing. We got to keep it pushing. Just in the idea of time. So, offensive rookie of the year, Manny. I want to get your pick for offensive rookie of the year first.
I'm a little biased.
Okay.
I'm a little biased.
Okay. It's Seattle fan, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Walker.
He's a dog.
Walker has been playing phenomenal. He's that guy.
He is.
He is that guy. Now, the other argument I could make is if this person didn't get hurt and didn't miss out on a couple of games would be Christian Watson.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing phenomenal too. His year 2 has a lot of upsides.
He's catching a lot of
But I would say right now, Kenneth Walker.
Okay, the official pick is Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker the third, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The third.
All right, Kevin, for you, offensive rookie of the year.
It's just this receiver out of wide receiver U. I don't have to say the university for you guys to understand, but
everybody knows.
Everybody knows it's yeah.
So which one? Which one is it? Because there's many.
There's the Bobcats.
It's Garry Wilson, man. It's got to be Garry Wilson, hands down.
All right, Kevin is going with Garrett Wilson. Jaevon, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's going to GW. Garrett Wilson. I think he's just
nickname.
He's just going out there. It doesn't matter who's his quarterback. Mike White, Joe Flacco, Zach Wilson. I mean, it just doesn't matter who's the quarterback. He's gonna produce, and I think he's going to be one of the better receivers in the coming years. But I think it's going to be Garrett Wilson.
So I'm also going to go with Garrett Wilson for everything that both of you just said. But I just want to say honorable mention, obviously, to the other star receiver from wide receiver U, and that is Chris Olave, who had a great start to the season. He's kind of tapered off a little bit. He was out a couple games.
Andy Dalton's his quarterback.
There you go. That says everything right there. So now let's get to defensive rookie of the year. Jaevon, is another Jet gonna win another rookie of the year award?
It's Sauce, man. That boy is Sauce Island. He's got his own Buffalo Wild Wings sauce. He's doing all this other stuff. He's got a bottle that actually had sauce in it as a chain. He put sauce in the chain. I just think that he's a pro. He's already a Pro Bowl. I think he'll be an All Pro this year. He's just taking away his side of the field. People don't throw out sauce, so we saw the talent at Cincinnati, but him to just come in first year, just being damn near the best corner in the league, it's got to be Sauce, man.
Kevin, how about you?
Hey, man, got the sauce in the chain. It got to be Sauce Gardner, man. The next Dale Rivas.
He played with the Jets, too.
Manny, how about you? Is it Sauce? Yeah, I saw you shaking your head.
I mean, I'm biased on this one again.
Tyreek Woolen.
Tyreek Woolen. Come on now. Come on now. 6 interceptions. 6 interceptions? Yeah. Okay. What's the name of the game? Go get the ball. Okay.
Go get the ball.
He's playing
He had to cover Tom Brady.
Go get the ball. Okay. He got more pass deflections as well.
He might
And he
be
has
all
more
pro this year
interceptions.
too.
Go get the ball. Yeah, he's that guy. Okay.
But the only reason why I say he has more interceptions, they don't even throw the sauce, so they don't even look his way. That's my only thing. They threw it the sauce, he might have the most interceptions in the league. That's all I gotta say.
Easy.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to make it unanimous as well. I think everything is going to, for the ROI, it's going to go to the Jets, Jets. And Sauce Gardner, I mean, he's got everything when it comes to it. All right, so the last award that we are going to make our picks on is the Comeback Player of the Year. And I'm just going to give mine first, and I'm just going to say I decided not to write back, but I am going to go with Geno Smith. I had to go with the tagline of the year for Geno Smith. He started it out. Somehow he's a Pro Bowler, and that is exactly why he is my comeback player of the year, because he sat on the bench for a good 9 years, and like he started out with the Jets, and he was the starter for the Jets. And then when he was with the Jets, right, wasn't that when he got punched in the locker room? He got sucker punched in the locker room by one of his teammates.
Yeah,
and then he went to the other team in New York, and he played for the Giants. He filled in for Eli Manning a little bit. And then he was actually the one who ended Eli Manning's consecutive start streak that was over 200. Giants fans freaked out. Then Geno went right back to the bench. Eli finished out his career. And so I'm happy to see Geno, even though the Seattle Seahawks, I was about to say what I usually call them, but the Seattle Seahawks are not going to make the playoffs in my opinion. But to me, Geno Smith is the comeback player of the year. I want to get to Manny. Manny, what's your pick on this one?
Another Seahawk, probably.
Oh yeah, come on now, 3 in a row. Geno, he's that guy.
He is that guy.
Now, granted, will I see him long term being QB?
Oh hell no!
I don't know.
He knows.
Hell no. Hey, the fact that you have to say I don't know already tells everything.
He knows.
But the fact that he came back and did his thing and made it respectable for Seattle, because a lot of people thought we weren't gonna win, at least like 3 games,
including you.
Hey, listen. We don't know. But the other argument would be Saquon, just because he came back from an ACL tear, and
that's a good one.
Saquon, if you've been watching him, he's still Saquon. He's still Saquon. He still has those glimpses and flashes of those highlight plays if you see him just running the ball. But I think it's going to end up going to Geno Smith, and him going into and making the Pro Bowl. It's phenomenal, but I think that also shows a testament of the non-elite quarterbacks in the NFC compared to the AFC. But yeah, I think it's going to Geno.
Yeah, and I think the only argument against Saquon would be the fact that he did come back last year and kind of got his legs under him, but he's back to that elite level this season, which is what we love to see from Saquon for sure, which is why Geno might run away with the award. Kevin, for you, is it Geno?
It's got to be, man.
And Jaevon as well for you. Are you going to make it unanimous and make it Geno as well?
It's Christian McCaffrey. It's not Geno Smith. I'm sorry, man. This is blasphemous. Geno Smith, Pro Bowler Geno Smith. Really? Is Geno Smith really a Pro Bowl quarterback? That's I can't really get over that, man. I don't think he's that guy. I think it's Christian McCaffrey. I think just his usage ever since he's been on the 49ers is just from pass catching to running the football, just to be having a nose for he threw a touchdown pass. He's thrown a touchdown. What can't this guy do? I mean, you could line him up in the slot against a DB, against phenomenal. A linebacker. I just don't see how it's not Christian McCaffrey, although it's probably going to go to Geno Smith just based off of the fact that he beat Russell Wilson and all this other stuff, and he's a Pro Bowler now. But you look at the stats, it's Christian McCaffrey.
I do have one question. I know we're going back to the whole Pro Bowl snub piece. Out of the running backs, if you guys had to choose between Saquon, Sanders, Pollard, and Christian, who would you choose to draft on your team out of all those running backs first?
CMC. I mean, but for me,
I'll give you the order. Hold on. What you said? Who was it?
All right, Toddy, make it quick though, because we got to get to this NBA segment.
CMC, Saquon.
Yeah, CMC, Saquon, Pollard, and Sanders.
I'll give Miles, and then I'll say Pollard.
Yeah, I mean, I would pick CMC just without a doubt.
Dalvin
but I've
Cook's
always
better
been,
than them last two guys that we just talked about, but
Yeah.
that's another segment.
That's a great question. And Manny, we appreciate you not only for tuning in and supporting, but also participating to our YouTube comments and giving us good questions
Yes, sir.
to continue off of. And we really appreciate you because not only did you join us and give us some great takes today, but you were our first guest here on Stats Over Politics. So we really appreciate you.
It.
Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Have a great night, Manny. Yes, sir. All right, guys. So now let's just get to this NBA segment real quick, and we're gonna make it real quick. As Jaevon just disappeared, Kevin. I don't know where Jaevon went, but Jaevon just disappeared. So now I guess Kevin and I are gonna finish things off with this NBA segment real quick. So Kevin, the Nets, they have been absolutely resurgent. Oh, there's our guy. He's back now. Oh, Jaevon, where'd you go? Did you just didn't want to do this NBA segment with us? What happened?
Yeah, man, I was like, I couldn't stand it anymore. I had to get out of here.
This is blasphemy.
he said I couldn't stand y'all with that Geno comeback player of the year pick. Anyways, guys, I was just saying how the Nets, they have been absolutely resurgent since Jaevon took over as the head coach. Steve Nash, he stepped away. And, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they've been playing pretty damn well as well. So, Kevin, what are your thoughts on these resurgent Nets?
Oh, my gosh, man. They're exactly who we thought we were going to be. Kyrie and Kevin Durant both averaging over 28 points in this 9-game winning streak. It just goes to show defense maybe will win championships, but offense will win you some games. They can't defend for a lick. Ben Simmons is Ben Simmons. But to see Kyrie and Kevin Durant come together and just say, this might be the last year we're going to do it, so let's just go out and do it. And ever since, Kyrie lost as the sponsorship with Nike, he's been turning up. Black tape Kyrie, man.
Yep.
Yeah, he sure has. Jaevon, and we know it's well documented that Kyrie's your boy. So have you loved what you've seen from him this year?
Well, man, I kind of mentioned this on last week's pod that no one was talking about the Nets and how they were on the 6-game winning streak at the time. And then all of a sudden they're on the 9-game or 8-game winning streak now. So I just think that the duo with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is actually starting to work because they're starting to play together. They weren't able to play together the last couple of years. That's the reason why James Harden ultimately left. Now that you're starting to see them is hitting the ground running. They got swept last year by the Boston Celtics, by the way. And just now them being able to kind of just get some games under their feet, I think that it's all starting to come together. And Jaevon's doing a hell of a job.
He really is. And the Nets were my pick to win the championship this year going into this season, even though there was so much question marks, but it was just because of the talent of those two guys. Plus you add Ben Simmons. If Ben Simmons is your third best player, that's a pretty good thing right there. So the next segment that we want to get to here in our NBA Fast Break on episode 7 of Stats Over Politics is, should the Lakers trade LeBron before it's too late due to so many injuries of Anthony Davis back to back to back that never seem to end? Kevin, is it time?
When I think of superstars leaving, you got to look at Devontae Adams and what he was able to do for the Packers. At the moment, you're losing a franchise-altering player, and it's going to suck. But the stuff you're going to get in return, the Lakers don't have draft capital, so you're going to be able to get capital and a couple of young guys to invest in. Of course, they don't want to do it because you want to keep LeBron James, but if Anthony Davis, a.k.a. always dressed, is just going to keep getting hurt, you got to do what's best for your franchise, and that's shopping LeBron.
Jaevon, is it time to get rid of LeBron?
I think it's
I
think it's the opposite. I think you try to shop Anthony Davis. He's been putting on a show these last couple of games when he was healthy. Kevin already said always dressed. He's hurt again. So he put on a hell of a showing. He was on a little MVP race, that little 10-game stretch that he was on. And I think, man, LeBron, the numbers are still there. He's putting up, like, tonight against the Magic, he had 28. I mean, he's averaging closer to 30 this year. I think he's still got it. What is he, 39 now? So, I mean, he's locked in for 2 years, I believe. So I think you can still get a lot for Anthony Davis. Probably not as much as you could have when they won the championship, because that was peak Anthony Davis, I think. And with LeBron James still under contract, I think you still have a chance. You just got to surround him with players that can shoot. LeBron's more a more magic style type of player than I would say a Michael Jordan, so he can get guys the ball and score at the same time. So I think you if you want to be able to still be able to contend for championships with LeBron James on your team, you can shop Anthony Davis.
That's a good point, and that's something that Rob Pelinka will have a lot to think about over the next couple months before that trade deadline.
Kuzma
Anthony
coming back.
Davis. Kuz is angling to get to some type of California team. Kuz wants to get back in the good weather, but Anthony Davis, as we know, is going to be out indefinitely because of his injured foot. So we'll see what happens there. The Sacramento Kings, in the last week, they played 3 games, including the one that they had tonight. And gentlemen, none of us were right because the Kings did not have a great week in those 3 games. So the Kings, they played the Lakers last Wednesday night, and they did beat the Lakers, but a lot had to do with it was always being dressed, and not even in the Golden One Center, I don't believe. Anyway, so the Kings do beat the Lakers, and they bounce back from that bad win or that bad loss against Charlotte, but then they get absolutely smacked by that guy we were just talking about, Kyle Kuzma, in the Washington Wizards on Friday night. Then they have several days off because of Christmas. They come back tonight, and they lose to the Denver Nuggets, even without Domantas Sabonis, who has messed up his hand. It was his thumb. And so, anyways, Jaevon, I just want to get your thoughts on the Kings' recent streak, because you and I were the only ones who thought that the Kings would lose to the Nuggets, but we also didn't think they would lose to the Wizards.
Well, yeah, they go 1-2 this week. Kings got to start getting. I think they're starting to get a little bit behind the 8 ball because they had a losing record last week, and now again this week. I think they had to start winning to kind of catch up because the West is stacked, especially in that lost division. If you start, losing a couple of games, next thing you know, you're in 8th, and next thing you know, you're in 9th, and we don't want that to happen. So, obviously, the Kings were shorthanded tonight without Domantas Sabonis. They put up a fight. They were winning the majority of that game, and then it kind of just got out of their hands. With Jokic, we're kind of seeing an emergence from Jamal Murray. Me and Shaun kind of talked about it in the group chat. Is Jamal Murray back? I think he is. They had an emotional game on Christmas, so going into this game, I thought they had a lot of momentum, and the Kings were kind of coming back from Christmas break, couple of games or a couple of days off, and the news coming out about Sabonis. We don't know the extent of his injury, but we do know that he has a jacked up thumb. So we'll see how the Kings adjust and what they're going to be able to do. Does this mean they have to kind of go out and make a couple of trades because they don't know the extent of Sabonis' injury? Are they going to have to go get a Kyle Kuzma? Are they going to have to go trade for somebody? We don't know. So I think the Kings kind of need to start getting back into 2-game win streaks, 3-game win streaks. They gotta start stacking wins.
And so Domantas Sabonis officially has a avulsion fracture in his right thumb. And also the news that came out today was that Mike Brown, he missed tonight's game because he is in health and safety protocols. Apparently COVID is still a thing. Kevin, I just want to get your thoughts on the Kings last week, because we always appreciate your optimism, but you thought the Kings would go 3-0 and they only went 1-2.
Yeah, man, optimism to say the least. But with Mike Brown going down, it's really going to hurt the team. But I feel like all the work, even in the summer league, the assistant staff was able to coach the team and coach them through some adversity. You had all the 3 versus 4 stuff going on, and to keep the Kings level-headed, to keep them going. Mike Brown put them on the staff for this reason. They all have the same beliefs. So I think it's going to be able to go smooth sailing there. Yes, we're going to miss our head of the snake, but it's just going to be a trickle-down effect. Just with the Sabonis thing, it's going to be next man up mentality. We saw a rebirth of Rashawn Holmes. We even got to see some Mezzi action. So I think the Kings are going to be just fine. Like Toddy said, we got to stop having these negative 3-4 game streaks. So as soon as we can get back on that winning streak, I think we're going to be fine. We just got to find a way to play consistent ball. And now De'Aaron Fox is going to get a stamp that he's an all-star with this time Sabonis being out.
I absolutely love that. That was very well said. And for the first time in a while, gentlemen, we're not going to make our predictions for this next coming week because we're just going to enjoy the basketball, and then we will report to you. We will report back to you all next week. Just real quickly, finally, guys, I just want to get to the NBA Christmas Day games that we had. Toddy, what was your favorite Christmas Day game?
Well, I'll tell you my least favorite game. It was definitely the Memphis game because they lost me money. Everybody else that I bet on, they won. But when you bet on Memphis, no Steph Curry, no problem, right? Jordan Poole has 32 points, and he gets ejected in the third quarter and comes out, and they still win. Says a lot. And then you hear Clay talking about you can't talk if you never won, right? Kind of Ja was saying he was good in the West. Not really worried about anybody in the West, which I thought was insane. But obviously, the Celtics getting a win over the Bucks. I was too scared to bet that game just because I was traumatized last year. The Bucks ended up coming back 20 down, and they ended up winning that game. So it was good to see that Jason Tatum, the MVP of the league, dropped 40 points and dunk over Giannis Antetokounmpo. Thought it was great. So I'll have to say the Celtics game was my favorite game.
Kevin, which was your favorite?
Oh man, it's got to be the Celtics game, Celtics Buck game. I had to think about it, man. Jason Tatum's dunked on a lot of
dunked on Bron when he was a rookie.
He's over here getting a nice little collection. The Deuce is gonna be able to look back and be like, "Damn, my dad dunked on him." But yeah, man, to see the both of them be healthy. They're both integrating still players with Celtics with Rob Williams and the Bucks with Chris Middleton. So to see them kind of both get in motion and to add Malcolm Brogdon to the mix, they already kind of have a budding rivalry. And Brogdon was drafted by the Bucks, so that's just added feel. And Jaylen Brown and Giannis getting into it. It was great to see. The Celtics aren't backing down from nobody. That ring doesn't mean nothing to them. They went to the finals too, so they're ready to go.
Jaevon, your least favorite game was my favorite. And I said going into it that it was going to be my favorite. Everyone was like, well, there's going to be no Steph. But that rivalry was still there. Clay, his moment with Dylan Brooks at the end of the game, it was just absolutely fantastic. I loved it. And that clip of Ja Morant saying that he had no one to worry about in the West circulating nonstop after that game, I absolutely loved it. And I'm just looking forward to when those two teams inevitably match up in the playoffs again, because it's going to happen. That is for sure. Anyways, guys, we appreciate you all for tuning in. And we all want you to have a very happy new year. We will catch you all in the new year in 2023. And thanks for tuning in to Stats Over Politics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. And we will catch you all next week. Catch you guys.